Everyone tells you to relax, turn off the screen, stop thinking, just breathe. But here you are, lying still, mind running like an engine that forgot how to idle. What if you're not broken? What if your brain simply works differently? And rest, for you, looks nothing like silence.
Sign 1. Your brain is a high-powered engine that can't idle. Imagine leaving a sports car running in neutral. The engine revs, vibrates, strains against the stillness. That's what happens inside a highly intelligent mind when forced into conventional rest. Your brain doesn't slow down, it accelerates into its own noise. Research on high IQ individuals consistently shows elevated baseline neural activity. Your default mode network, the part that runs when you're doing nothing, is more active, more connected, more restless than average. Staring at the ceiling isn't rest for you. It's a vacuum that your mind fills immediately with worry, analysis, and circling thoughts. You weren't built for empty. You were built for engaged.
Sign 2. Mindless entertainment leaves you more drained. You've tried it. The reality TV marathon, the endless scroll, the background noise everyone swears helps them unwind. And afterward, you feel worse, heavier, more restless than before. This isn't laziness or ingratitude, it's neurology. Intelligent minds require a minimum level of cognitive engagement to feel satisfied. When input falls below that threshold, the brain doesn't rest, it goes searching. It starts critiquing the plot, analyzing the algorithm, questioning why you're even watching this. Low-quality stimulation creates friction, not calm. Your nervous system reads understimulation as a mild form of stress. The relief you're looking for won't come from less, it will come from the right kind of more.
Sign 3. You enter flow states instead of falling asleep. It's 11 at night. You told yourself 30 minutes. Now it's 2 in the morning, and you've completely restructured how you think about Roman aqueducts, or written half an essay, or solved a problem that's been sitting on your desk for a week. Sound familiar? This is flow, a state of complete absorption where time dissolves and effort feels effortless. And for highly intelligent minds, flow isn't an accident. It's actually your brain's preferred mode of rest. Not sleep, not passivity, active, deep, immersed engagement. The problem isn't that you can't relax. The problem is that nobody told you flow counts as recovery. It does, completely.
Sign 4. Small talk exhausts you, while deep conversation energizes. Parties drain you. Networking events leave you hollow. But you once talked to a stranger about the nature of consciousness for 3 hours and went home feeling completely alive. This is not antisocial behavior, it's a specific neurological signature. High-functioning minds process social interaction differently. The cognitive cost of maintaining surface-level conversation without genuine content is enormous. Your brain is constantly looking for the thread, the idea beneath the words, the pattern behind the behavior, the meaning under the small talk. When it finds none, it works harder for nothing. But deep, substantive conversation, that feeds something essential. It's not socializing that tires you. It's socializing without substance.
Sign 5. You need to understand things fully before you can let them go. Something happened 3 weeks ago. A comment someone made. A decision that didn't go the way you expected. A moment you can't quite place in the story you tell about yourself. Most people move on. You haven't. Not because you're weak or obsessive, but because your mind doesn't release what it doesn't understand. High cognitive complexity comes with a specific need for closure, not emotional closure, but intellectual closure. Your brain files experiences like documents. Until a file is complete, it stays open, running in the background, consuming energy. You don't need to let it go. You need to finish understanding it. Then it closes on its own.
Sign 6. Routine boredom feels physically painful. You've been in meetings that felt like slow suffocation, waited in lines that made your skin crawl, sat through explanations of things you understood in the first sentence. And it didn't feel like mild impatience. It felt like actual discomfort, like something in you was pressing against the walls. This is real. Research into high intellectual capacity consistently links it to lower boredom tolerance, not as a character flaw, but as a neurological feature. Your brain has a higher threshold for what counts as sufficient stimulation. Below that threshold, the discomfort signals are genuine. You're not difficult. You're not impatient. You simply require more, and your nervous system knows it.
Sign 7. You recharge by learning, not by stopping. Other people come back from vacation relaxed. You come back from a vacation where you visited 3 museums, read 2 books, and spent an afternoon going deep on local history, and you feel genuinely restored. While others find rest in absence of activity, you find it in the right quality of activity. Learning, particularly self-directed, curiosity-driven learning, activates reward pathways in the highly intelligent brain in a way that passive rest simply cannot replicate. Dopamine flows when you discover something new, when a pattern clicks, when understanding deepens. For your kind of mind, curiosity isn't an indulgence, it's maintenance. Feeding it isn't avoiding rest, it is rest.
Sign 8. Silence without purpose creates anxiety, not peace. Meditation retreats, quiet weekends, screen-free Sundays, wonderful ideas in theory. But for you, enforced silence often doesn't produce peace. It produces a specific kind of dread. The thoughts get louder. The unfinished things feel closer. The absence of input becomes its own kind of noise. This isn't a failure of your practice. This is your brain in an environment it wasn't designed for. High cognitive activity minds need what's called structured mental space, not emptiness, but purposeful quiet. Silence with intention, a walk with a question to think through, stillness with a creative problem held gently in mind. Not empty silence, focused silence. That's the version that actually works for you.
What we're describing has a neurological basis. Highly intelligent individuals tend to have greater neural efficiency at complex tasks, but paradoxically, higher arousal at rest. The brain's default mode network, responsible for self-referential thinking, future planning, and creative association, is more active and more interconnected. This means more processing happening in the background, always. Add to this a stronger dopamine sensitivity, which creates a more urgent need for novelty and reward, and a heightened sensory system that picks up more from the environment than average. The result is a mind that is never truly offline, and that needs specific, curated conditions to recover, rather than generic prescriptions for stillness.
When you spend years trying to rest the way other people rest, and it never works, something slowly erodes. You start believing you're broken, wired wrong, too much, too restless, too demanding.
You push harder to relax, fail again, and add shame to exhaustion. The cumulative cost of chronic understimulation for a high-functioning mind isn't dramatic, it's quiet. A slow flattening of curiosity, a reluctance to start new things, a retreat from the creative and intellectual life that once made you feel most like yourself. This is not an inevitable outcome, but it is a real one, and it happens not from using your mind too much, but from feeding it too little.
So, what does healthy rest actually look like for a mind like yours? It looks like engaging, not stopping. A documentary on something you've always been curious about. A long, wandering conversation with someone who challenges you. Writing, even badly, even privately, to process what's alive in you. A puzzle, a problem, a creative project with no stakes. Physical movement paired with mental freedom. Walking, not sitting. The key principle is this: rest is recovery, and recovery happens when the nervous system feels safe and satisfied, not empty and understimulated. You don't need to do less. You need to do the right things, things that engage you fully without depleting you. A word of honesty here. None of this means you never need stillness. Sleep is non-negotiable, and your brain, for all its activity, requires it absolutely. Nor does it mean that difficulty slowing down is always healthy. Chronic inability to rest can also signal anxiety, trauma, or burnout that deserves care and attention. The difference is intention. There's a meaningful distance between a mind that chooses rich engagement as its recovery mode and a mind that can't stop because stopping feels dangerous. Know which one you are. If stillness feels like threat rather than simply boredom, that's worth exploring with someone who can help you understand why.
Let these land without rushing to answer them. When was the last time you felt genuinely restored, not just distracted, but actually replenished? What were you doing? Was there a specific kind of activity, reading, making, talking, building, exploring, that left you feeling more like yourself, not less? Have you ever felt guilty for not being able to simply sit still? And is it possible that guilt was misplaced? Your answers to these questions are not philosophical. They are practical data about how your specific mind recovers. Understanding that is not self-indulgence, it's basic self-knowledge. And for minds like yours, self-knowledge is one of the most powerful tools available.